Today's session focuses on enhancing our understanding of equity and accessibility for students with ADHD. Throughout this session, we will consider insights within educational psychology to inform inclusive practices for some of our most beautiful yet forgotten young minds. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects attention, socio-emotional regulation, impulse control, and executive functioning. It is pertinent to consider that ADHD and its symptomology is not simply a matter of motivation or effort, but if not nourished with the appropriate fertilizer, sown by appropriate mentors and educators, a child's motivation will indeed suffer. When considering the needs of our learners, we must seek to understand this curious condition deeper. According to Barclay, ADHD is fundamentally a disorder of self-regulation and executive control, which impacts how students plan, focus, and manage their emotions and actions. When we view students through these lenses, we are able to be more compassionate to the individual. We begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Let us now take a moment to consider what equity really means within our context. What assumptions do we sometimes make about students with ADHD, and how can we challenge them? How do you balance structure and flexibility when planning for students with ADHD? How do you build trust and connection with students who struggle with emotional regulation? In what ways does our current planning reflect universal design for learning? How do we move from a deficit-based view of ADHD to a strengths-based approach in our culture? And most importantly, how can we create a culture of shared responsibility for inclusion across our school? Now let us gain a deeper understanding of what inclusion truly is within our pedagogical framework. Inclusion isn't just about strategies. It is a collective efficacy and shared understanding towards the same goal. Essentially, the way we think and feel about inclusion affects how it is enacted. Linda Graham reminds us that inclusion is a practice, not a place. Therefore, we must analyze the current beliefs, values, and assumptions we have of our students. Often, predispositions and judgments based on the learner can occur even before they enter the classroom. We must endeavour to authentically see every student as capable by ensuring access to curriculum and collaboration is equitable. Climbey and Mastoras advocate for a strengths-based approach, one that focuses on what students can do, not just what they struggle with. This aligns with Carol Dweck's work on motivation and mindset. Dweck states that growth mindset is the belief that intellectual ability can be developed. Thus, reinforcing a student's academic strength, we can lead them to understand that they are agents of change, with the ability to achieve anything, regardless of subject matter. When we talk about equity in education, we mean providing each student with what they need to succeed, rather than treating all students the same. For students with ADHD, this might include movement breaks, flexible seating, visual schedules, or modified tasks. These accommodations are not about lowering expectations, but rather they're about removing barriers. Universal design for learning, as described by Katz, provides a framework for designing learning environments that are accessible to all students from the outset. Educational psychology offers powerful tools to understand and support learners with ADHD, helping us create more inclusive and effective learning environments. Vygotsky's concept of the zone of proximal development guides us to scaffold learning just beyond a student's current ability by promoting growth through targeted support and interaction. Sweller's cognitive load theory reminds us that presenting too much information at once can overwhelm working memory, especially for students with attention challenges, reinforcing the need to simplify tasks and reduce extraneous cognitive demands. Let us take a moment now to consider which theory resonates most with our own personal teaching style. Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, cognitive load theory, or self-regulated learning. How might these theories help you reframe your approach to students with ADHD? The theory that resonates most with me is Zimmerman's self-regulated learning framework, which encourages the use of metacognitive strategies such as goal setting, self-monitoring, and reflection. When students have agency and advocacy in their own learning experience, they are able to build independence and take ownership over their own learning. When balanced together, these theories empower educators to design instruction that is accessible, responsive, and developmentally appropriate for diverse learners, particularly for those with ADHD. Students with ADHD often experience difficulties with working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibitory control, which can significantly impact their ability to engage with learning tasks. Sweller's cognitive load theory provides a framework for addressing these challenges by emphasizing the need to reduce extraneous cognitive load through strategies such as chunking instructions, using visual cues, and simplifying task demands. These approaches help preserve working memory capacity and support sustained attention. Vygotsky's sociocultural theory highlights the importance of scaffolding and social interaction in learning, which aligns with the concept of co-regulation, where teachers actively support students in managing their emotions and behaviors. Graziano and Garcia emphasize that teachers play a key role in co-regulating students' emotions, particularly for those with ADHD, who may struggle with emotional self-control. Zimmerman's self-regulated learning theory complements this by promoting metacognitive strategies that foster independence, such as using checklists, graphic organizers, and goal-setting tools. These strategies are further reinforced by social emotional learning programs, which help students identify emotions, develop empathy, and collaborate effectively. Together, these theories and practices offer a comprehensive approach to supporting ADHD learners through cognitive scaffolding, emotional regulation, and structured independence. Supporting students with ADHD and diverse learning needs requires us to deeply reflect on how cognitive, developmental, and emotional frameworks can assist us in providing truly inclusive learning experiences. Vygotsky's sociocultural theory emphasizes the importance of scaffolding with the zone of proximal development, whereby we, as teachers, guide students to challenge themselves just beyond their current capabilities through meaningful engagement with others. This aligns with Graziano and Garcia's findings that teachers play a critical role in co-regulating students' emotions, particularly for those with ADHD, who may struggle with emotional self-management. Sweller's cognitive load theory complements this by reminding educators to reduce extraneous cognitive demands, ensuring that instructional design supports working memory and minimizes overload, especially in the context of academic and emotional regulation. Finally, Zimmerman's self-regulated learning theory further supports the development of independence through metacognitive strategies such as goal setting, self-monitoring, and reflection, which is reinforced by SEL programs, which helps students identify emotions, develop empathy, and solve problems collaboratively. When utilizing these theories and practices, we can create a responsive and inclusive learning environment where self-regulation and co-regulation are intentionally supported through both instructional design and emotional scaffolding. Let us now consider a student, Jaden. Jaden is a Year 5 student diagnosed with ADHD. He often forgets to bring materials to class, struggles to follow multi-step instructions, and becomes easily frustrated when tasks feel overwhelming. During group work, he sometimes interrupts others or disengages completely. His teacher notices that Jaden performs well in hands-on activities, but avoids writing tasks. What inclusive strategies could support Jaden's learning and well-being? If we wish for education to be truly inclusive, then we must acknowledge that students with ADHD often experience exclusion or misunderstanding. However, we can combat this by prioritizing strong teacher-student relationships and, of course, deeper understanding of their individual strengths and weaknesses. Contemporary revelations brought to us by cognitive neuroscience have introduced a whole new gold standard of objective evidence of how certain education interventions impact the developing neurodivergent mind. For example, Evidence suggests that certain mindfulness exercises can improve attention and mitigate ADHD symptoms by activating brain regions in both directing and sustaining attention. Let us conclude this session with a simple meditation exercise for students with ADHD.
Time it finishes.